You close the front door, lock it, and walk away. Inside, your dog doesn't howl. They don't pace the floors or tear up the sofa cushions. They just watch you go. Turn around and lie down quietly. For years, we've been told that a quiet dog is simply an independent dog. The assumption is that if they aren't crying at the window or destroying the house, they must be perfectly content without you. But in canine psychology, silence doesn't always mean indifference. Sometimes the quietest behaviors hide the deepest longing. Your dog experiences your absence not as an empty block of time, but as a prolonged physical state of waiting. They track how long you've been gone by the fading smell of your scent in the air. And while they wait, they are doing subtle things that show just how heavily your absence weighs on them. There is actually one tiny, incredibly ordinary sound your dog makes the exact moment you finally sit back down. Together, something you've heard 100 times, but never realized was the ultimate proof of their emotional relief. But before we get to that, let's look at how they manage the quiet hours without you. The first sign is what ethologists call scent-seeking behavior. When you leave, you might notice that your dog abandons their expensive soft bed and chooses to sleep somewhere, seemingly uncomfortable. They might curl up on a pile of your worn laundry, your specific spot on the sofa, or even rest their chin right on top of the shoes you left by the door. To a dog, your scent is a biological anchor. It triggers the release of oxytocin in their brain, the same hormone that creates feelings of love and safety. When you are physically gone, they crave the chemical comfort of your smell. By pressing their body against the things that hold your scent, the strongest, they are self-soothing. They are wrapping themselves in the ghost of your presence to feel secure. Then there's the holding pattern. You might hear from a family member or see on a pet camera that your dog just wasn't themselves while you were gone. They didn't eat all their food. They ignored their favorite toys. They just seemed a little flat. We often mistake this for boredom, but it is actually a biological response to the absence of their core attachment figure. You are their primary source of social engagement. When you are removed from their environment, their world temporarily shrinks. They enter a low-energy conservation mode. Why waste energy playing or exploring when the person who makes those activities safe and meaningful isn't there? They are simply pausing their joy until you return to restart it. You will also see this in how they physically position themselves. A dog who misses you will often change resting spots throughout the day, migrating toward the entryway or a front-facing window. They are just sleeping, are standing guard at the threshold where you disappeared, orienting their senses toward the exact location they expect you to return from. If you are starting to see your dog's quiet loyalty in a whole new work. Take a second to subscribe. Our goal is to help you decode the hidden emotional life of your best friend so you can build a deeper, more trusting bond. When you finally do return, the way your dog greets you, tells an entire story about how deeply they felt your absence. You might notice that after a long day away, their greeting is intensely physical. They don't just wag their tail, their entire body bends into a U shape. They might press their side hard against your legs or bury their head tightly between your knees. This full body contact isn't just excitement. It is a biological imperative to reconnect. In a dog's mind, a reunited pack must physically reaffirm their social bond to ensure survival. By leaning their full weight against you, they are confirming that their safe place is solid, real, and finally back where it belongs. Sometimes this intense relief spills over into object retrieval. The moment you walk in, they scramble to find a toy, a blanket, or even a random sock, and bring it to you while whining or pacing. They don't actually want to play fetch in that moment. This is called a displacement behavior. The surge of adrenaline and joy they feel when you walk through the door is so overwhelming that their nervous system struggles to contain it. Putting an object in their mouth acts like a physical pacifier. It channels their explosive emotional energy into a manageable task, keeping them from becoming entirely unglued by their own happiness. And then comes the shadow phase. For the first hour after you get home, your dog might become your second shadow. If you go to the kitchen, they go to the kitchen. If you walk to the bathroom, they lay quietly outside the door. This temporary clinginess is their way of resetting their internal map. You were lost, and now you are found. They follow you closely to ensure you aren't going to vanish again, actively soaking in your presence to overwrite the stress of the hours you were gone, which leads to the final, most profound phase of their reunion with you, the emotional reset. You might notice that shortly after the initial greeting, once you finally sit down on the couch or at your desk, your dog comes over, curls up against your leg, and falls into a deep sleep. But right before they drift off, they do something incredibly subtle. They let out a long, trembling, heavy sigh. For years, you might have thought they were just tired or getting comfortable. But in canine psychology, that deep sigh, combined with relaxing their muscles against you, is the sound of an autonomic nervous system officially standing down. All day while you were gone, they maintained a low-grade vigilance. They slept lightly, keeping one ear swiveled toward the door. They waited. They tracked the fading scent of your morning routine. They held on to the quiet tension of an incomplete pack. That heavy sigh is the literal release of hours of waiting. It is your dog's body saying, "The world is finally right again. My person is home, and I can truly rest." Tonight, when you come home, don't just brush past them. Stop. Let them lean their weight against you. Wait for them to bring you that toy, and Listen closely for that deep sigh when you finally sit down. Understand that to them, your return is the best part of their day. If this changed how you see your dog, leave a comment below and share it with someone who loves their dog just as much as you do.